Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Stevie Nicol and Craig Burley. It's 1 year to the day until Russia 2018 kicks off. So to mark the occasion, we welcome in our World Cup winner, Frank Leboeuf. And Frank, you take a look at the odds as to who's going to win the tournament next year. France come in at second favourites, just behind Germany. A lot of people thinking that they can emulate what you did back in 1998. And I suppose the exciting thing from a French perspective, looking at this squad, is the young players coming through.
Yeah, it's simply amazing that we are second, because really, when you're not able to win against Sweden and even lose at the last second because of a big mistake from our goalkeeper, I don't think we deserve that. We have real talents at front, and I'm sure if Didier Deschamps is a little bit less conservative and maybe think about pressurizing the opponent, maybe we can do something. But I think we're still young, we're still inexperienced, and maybe we'll see within 6 months if those players are more mature and be able to handle the pressure and give the result that we want to have. So it's still far away. We are second in the qualification group behind Sweden, and nothing is done, and everything will be hard to get. And before thinking about that, we can finish second. Maybe we have to think about being qualified, and that's going to be a big stuff.
Frank, speaking as a man who's come from a country that's just won the Under-20 World Cup and everyone went crazy about it, considering the talent you've got in this squad, you're not exactly bubbling over with enthusiasm looking at this French prospect going into the World Cup.
Well, I think we have to break a little bit onto our enthusiasm, because we know that everything is fragile, and if we have the talent, if we have the individuals, we don't know yet how the collective will work. We have some certitudes, like Kanté should be the midfielder and the only one, and maybe Pogba working with him alongside. But at front, we don't know what's going to be Didier Deschamps' choices with Payet, Dembélé, of course Mbappé, Giroud, and some others, Coman. You have to find the chemistry between those players, making sure that they work the way you want them to work and be more effective. Against England, we miss many chances, even if they've been good. Mbappé should have scored, Dembélé should have scored a double. So they have the talent, but I think they're very young, and before thinking that we can win a World Cup, we'll have to be a little bit patient. I remember Thierry Henry and Trezeguet winning when they were 20 years old, but they didn't play a lot, because they weren't, I guess, ready to be in the first 11.
Compared to Ralf Honigstein talking about Germany, he's bubbling with joy.
Well, that's true, yes.
Trust me.
But then on the other side,
but he's been great.
If England had that squad, we'd be going nuts.
Yeah, but you don't. So,
well, that's very true.
Well, exactly, and then you build it up, and then it all falls flat again. Look, it's a young team. It could be a very young team, one of the youngest French teams to play in a major tournament, depending on who Deschamps selects. But the good news is, whether they are in the hunt to win it or not, once they qualify, and they will, it's a bit tricky at the moment, but they will, is that it's a team that could be together for 6 to 8 years minimum. I mean, Pogba has got 2 or 3 tournaments. Kanté was the oldest one. Well, you had Lloris and you had Giroud at 30. The next oldest one in that team was N'Golo Kanté at 26. The rest of them were either teenagers or early 20s, and there was more to come in. So everything looks great, but he is right. There's no guarantee of winning this.
They could do what Germany's been doing over the last, 8 years?
Yeah, and what Spain did before them.
And I'm listening to Frank and I'm thinking, I'll tell you what, Frank, most teams struggle to have a couple of great players on their team, and then you try and fill in around those. France have got stars back, middle to front. And let's be honest, Lloris, although he made a complete howler, is a fantastic goalkeeper. So if France don't get this together in a year's time, then I'll tell you what, they don't deserve it.
So on yesterday's show, though, you didn't back France to win the World Cup. So
no, we didn't. Just purely because they haven't quite got it sussed yet, but they've got 12 months to go. For me, Brazil and Germany know exactly what they're doing. They know who's playing where. Right. They pretty much know what system they're playing. France are not in that position. But talent-wise, You could argue they're ahead of everybody.
It has to put more pressure on Deschamps.
Yeah.
It's great. It is great for a coach, but it piles the pressure on in terms of his needing to get success, especially off the back of losing to Portugal in the Euros, which was a huge shock because I'm sure many thought, oh, we're going to win this. Portugal, they're a decent side, but you know, we turn up, we win. You look at Wilmots with Belgium. All the talk was this is going to happen, it's going to happen. All these great Belgian players coming through, playing all over the globe, and then it fell flat. Deschamps has to make sure that he is getting the best out of these youngsters mixed with the experience.
Frank, we've spent a lot of time over the last couple of weeks discussing the future of Kylian Mbappe. Before I ask you what you suggest he should do, just give us an insight as to how good you think he is.
Well, he has everything. He's not 20 yet, and he's already mature. He's a very smart person. On top of being a fantastic football player, he has the pace, he has the technique. He seems to have the physique to carry on all season long and being effective. He had that little plus that makes players being exceptionals, and he's very humble. And again, when he talks to the press, you know, you see somebody who seems to be already 30. Is really exceptional. He has everything. Now, how he's going to cope with the fame, I don't know. But he seems to be on. His feet seems to be on earth. I don't know what's going to happen in his future, his close future, whether he's going to stay in Monaco or go maybe to Real Madrid or somewhere else. But he seems to be able to handle everything and become, I don't know, maybe a new Ronaldo.
Say he called you this evening, Frank, and said, look, Frank, I've got these options. I can stay at Monaco, I can go to Arsenal, or I can go to Real Madrid. What would you advise him to do?
Well, it's very complicated because I guess he's not the only one to decide because Monaco has something to do. If you offer 100 or 130 million pounds or dollars to come to Real Madrid, it's hard for Monaco to say no. Now, if we only talk about the football, I wish him to stay. I wish him to stay in Monaco for another year to be able to handle more his football and the pressure. He only played for 6 months. Don't forget that he didn't start the season. Yeah. He only started in November, and he's very young and very inexperienced, even if he shows the opposite. But he has to be patient. I mean, his time will come. Obviously, we don't wish him to get injured, but if he carries on like that, there is no way that he's not going to have a fantastic career. So, being in under Jardim in Monaco with all the players that he knows, with a certain way of life in Monaco with no pressure, he can become even bigger and maybe go to Real Madrid. Maybe Monaco can sign, or Real Madrid can sign him to Monaco, and maybe he can lend maybe a year to Monaco. That will be maybe the best for him.
You know, there's a lot of players, a lot of young players. Well, not a lot of young players at his age could go to that level. But there's a lot of youngish players. If you mention Real Madrid, right, and they were to go there, you'd be like, oh, no, they're going to get swamped. They're going to be swamped by the pressure. Yeah. They're going to be in awe of the players there. But watching how this guy carries himself on the field, how he deals with when he's in possession, how he makes runs, not that he can't improve or learn, of course he can, and he'll get more experience. But watching even the little tricks out in the wide areas, I know it was a friendly. I don't think it would. I don't know about you. I don't think it would faze him going to Real Madrid. I really don't.
I don't think he can make the wrong decision because either way, I think he benefits. He benefits staying in Monaco for all the reasons Frank put forward, but he benefits going to Real Madrid and training and playing at that sort of level. That can only make him better. So really, he can't get it wrong either way.
Frank, I'm just going back to the fact, of course, the World Cup is just a year away.
100 days?
No, 365 days. Looking at it, you didn't seem that keen on France. So who's going to win it, in your opinion?
Oh, wow. Really hard to say. I have to say that I didn't follow Brazil or Chile later. couple of months ago, and I didn't check what they're worth. But really, you're gonna find Italy, you're gonna find Germany. I guess Spain's still gonna be there. You will have Argentina or Brazil or Chile. I don't know. And France has something to play, but really hard to say who is the favorite right now. 12 months before, it's very
Frank,
hard
I'll let you off.
to guess something right now.
I'll let you off, don't worry.
Thank you.
Confederations Cup, of course, starts on Saturday. Well, that gave us a bit of an insight as to what's going to happen in Russia in 12 months' time. We've been looking ahead to it over on ESPNFC.com. Coming up after the break, Frank is still with us as we'll be discussing whether or not, when he played with Zinedine Zidane, he saw a future Champions League winning coach. Welcome back. Zinedine Zidane, of course, made history last month, leading Real Madrid to back-to-back Champions League titles. No coach in the history of the competition has ever done that in the past. Frank, you, of course, played with Zizou. You know how good he was as a player. Did you ever see him being this successful as a coach?
As a coach, no, never. Frankly, it's been amazing since he took this club in charge and became the coach like a year and a half ago. What he achieved, because as a player, never I thought he would become a coach. And since he decided to work with the reserve team, then after become an head coach with Ancelotti, he finally took charge of the first team and became a double Champions League winner, and he really deserved it, because on top of having the respect of the players in the dressing room, I think he worked very hard, and I think his best signing so far was Antonio Pintus, the physical coach that he took, that I know because he was my physical coach at Chelsea, and we saw the final when we saw Juventus being very tired half time, and we saw Real Madrid players working still very hard physically. I think everywhere, tactically, technically and physically, Real Madrid has been perfect during this game, and that's because of the work of Zidane and his staff.
A fantastic season for Real Madrid then, Frank. At the other end of the spectrum, a bit of a disaster, really, for PSG, of course, coming second to Monaco in Ligue 1, and that disastrous failing at the Camp Nou after taking such a big lead into the second leg. Reports just this week that Verratti wants out of the club. Things just seem to be falling apart a bit.
Well, it will if Verratti leaves. I think the signal that the club will send if they get rid of Verratti or sell Verratti to maybe Barcelona will show to the other players willing to come over that the ambitions is dead. You have to make sure that you keep your best players if you want to one day achieve something, meaning winning the Champions League. And it won't be the case if you get rid of maybe the best player that you have. On the other hand, I think it's pretty sad to some players, just going to another club to win the Champions League. Why don't they try to win the Champions League with the club they have, with the club with Paris Saint-Germain, for example? Or it was the case for Griezmann, who said before staying to Atletico Madrid, I want to go somewhere else to win the Champions League. Why don't you do the best with your teammates to win the Champions League while you are in a big club?
For PSG, you think when they made those big marquee signings, when they got Zlatan over from Italy, you thought they're going to be a real force here? And it hasn't quite happened.
Well, they should have been last year.
Well, indeed. After
threw it away.
Yeah, after the Barcelona
I'm not saying
game.
they would have won it, looking at Real Madrid, but I mean, the way they...
So having said that, do you think they can be a force going forward?
Do you know what? That would... For me, having watched Barca and Real Madrid, those two in particular, in recent years, it would take them to slip up and drop a level. Because they're just... I mean, look at Real Madrid, what they did to Juve in the final. They're just a cut above.
I think the damage that's been done with the defeat to Barcelona is as much to do as anything else. It kind of felt when they lost that game as though there was a feeling of, do you know what, it doesn't matter how much we throw at this, we're never going to get a better chance. Had they beaten Barcelona, had they gotten through to the semi, had they lost the final, you could look at PSG and say, this is taking a little step, a little step, a little step. That defeat at Barcelona, to me, just seems to have been a wee grenade thrown in the middle of it and blown it all up.
Do you know, it might take that. It might take a period where it's going to take until Messi and Ronaldo are over the hill.
Right.
And it's not just about them, but they've done so much damage to teams, the big teams in the big stages of this competition. I mean, Ronaldo again, 2 hat-tricks back-to-back, quarter and semi, and then, 2 goals in the final, and he was searching for his hat-trick there. It might take for those two to be finished and move on, where Barca and Real will still be good teams, but it will give the rest a little bit more of a chance to just bridge that gap.
Frank, many thought that when Messi and Ronaldo do indeed move on, Antoine Griezmann could step up and be in contention as one of the best players in the world. He, of course, will be staying at Atletico Madrid another year, despite that offer from Manchester United. From a French perspective and want to see him grow, do you think this was the right decision by him?
Well, I don't know. I guess we'll see. But it seems to be that Atletico Madrid is looking for his second breath, and they quite struggled this season, not being able to win the Liga, but also the Champions League, and they seem to be less ambitious in a way comparing to the other years. Now Griezmann had the chance to go to Manchester United, but is Manchester United the Manchester United that we used to see with a team being able to win the Champions League when they just won the Europa League this season? I'm not sure. I think they are building a new generation at Manchester. Manchester is still a big club, a fantastic club, but they're not in the position of winning the Champions League very, very soon. So I guess it was a wise decision for Griezmann to stay with Atletico Madrid. And as I said before, maybe try to win with the club who made you being a star, maybe trying to win the Champions League with.
Finally, Frank, quickly, Diego Costa, of course, has made it very public that Chelsea want to get rid of him, that he's not in Antonio Conte's plans. Do you think this is a mistake by your former club?
I love Diego Costa. I mean, you love Diego Costa if he plays for your club or if you play with him, and you hate him when you play against. But I don't know if it's a mistake. I think I'm not in the dressing room. We heard some noises, sounds saying that Antonio Conte and Costa had a fight inside the dressing room when Costa wanted to leave for China. So I don't know what's going on, and if it's for the best of the club, I think it's better to get rid of him and make sure that the dressing room is okay and everybody works at the same way for the same goal.
Frank Leboeuf, as always, thank you very much for your time. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Bye.
Just a reminder, for all your latest news, go over to espnfc.com. A full breakdown of those Premier League fixtures that were announced today. We'll be talking about them after the break. Like Christmas Day, wasn't it? This morning, waking up to the fixtures for the new Premier League season being announced. So we've picked United and Chelsea here. Hey, Jose Mourinho's got to be happy, isn't he? West Ham, away at Swansea, Leicester at home, away at Stoke and Everton to kick things off. Much tougher, though, for the defending champions. Burnley are given, but then you're White Hart Lane? No, where are you? Wembley? Yeah, Wembley. Everton, away as Leicester, then Arsenal. That's tough for Chelsea.
Oh, no question. If you look at just those two sides, Man United are absolutely in dreamland. I mean, you talk about wanting to make a good start. You couldn't ask for better. Chelsea, on the other hand, let's not forget, Hazard probably won't start the season. I don't think he will.
Yeah.
And if you go 2 more games added to what you just saw, they've got Man City as well. So they got 3 top 4 contenders in the first 7 games. They got Stoke away in the middle there. They also got Leicester away as well. So
Chelsea aren't going to win the title? Is that what we're saying?
I'll tell you what, if they come out of that flying, then absolutely.
That's it, it's over.
That's it, it's over.
I'll do a Shaka.
It'll be even earlier than Shaka Hislop.
That's a tough start.
Well, if one club has to get off to a good start, it would be United. Just because he was embattled last year again, and seemed like a constant, not a war, but constant words with the media and the reporting and the talk about Pogba and the players and, you know, was he going to be able to turn it around at Man United and all that sort of thing. So he will need to get off to a good start. I think we'll be hearing from Mourinho again.
It's a strange one as well because Manchester United, against sides that they should have won last year, kind of struggled. And if it all starts
I thought that was
again,
Liverpool.
Well, both
of them.
He's getting to them.
See, if you let me finish, you have to me already. So if it goes the way it did for them last season against those types of sides, then it could start so early in the season, everybody getting after Mourinho.
Meanwhile, I'm sure there'll be a lot of focus once again on Arsene Wenger.
Yes.
Take a look at their Christmas schedule. It is not easy for the Gunners around the festive period. Look at December. You got United, then you're away against Southampton, away against West Ham, Newcastle, Liverpool, Palace, and West Brom. It's not an easy stretch, is it, during the holidays? And then it's Chelsea on New Year's Day.
Well, he can't throw in rest and play.
Oh, we're already bashing Arsenal for the Christmas schedule.
Just start Wenger out now. Get those planes up. Ready.
He's
put
not
them
changed
for
any
December.
backroom staff. He's got his 2-year contract.
He's going to lose Alexis Sanchez.
Who knows what's going to happen? And then we'll throw it in. Just send him that. Get him a letter. Get an ESPN letterhead and send those Christmas schedule fixtures to him and say, what do you think of that, big man?
I think it's safe to say that at this minute in time, we're not exactly behind Arsenal. We don't think they're actually going to do particularly well, do we?
Do you think Arsene Wenger's walked into London Colney, their training base today, and went, I've seen that Christmas schedule?
What do you think he's walked in and go, where is everybody? What's going on? Why are they?
Well, let's see.
As players, would you pay any attention to this?
No, not at all.
Not one iota.
You look at the first game, right?
I have to be honest, I haven't paid any attention to it today. Well, to be honest.
That doesn't really
I've left it to him.
Well, Stevie's gone for it.
You look at the first game and that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
All right, then. Just a reminder, we are with you throughout the whole summer. Check your local listings for the next edition of ESPN FC.
And now, insurance-minded speeches from Geico.
Hardship. My grandmother would go through it every month to pay her insurance bill. First, she would handwrite a paper check, in cursive. Then, using her own tongue, she would wet a stamp for an envelope. Today, however, we need not weary our hands and tongues. Today, we can pay our Geico bill with the Geico app. Away with hardship, in with bill pay on the Geico app. Thank you.
Well, it was a story we were expecting. It was confirmed today. Claude Puel has been sacked as manager of Southampton. A lot of people will point to his record. He got them to the League Cup final, 8th in the Premier League, and will suggest this is harsh.
I personally think it is. I know their points was down on last season, but they finished 8th, which is not bad. Lost Font, lost Van Dijk for a long time with injury. They did lose other players, brought Gabbiadini in, who looked great. Played great in the cup final, albeit they lost there. They're a selling club. I thought he did a decent enough job.
But Southampton fans will tell you they didn't like the style of football that he played, and it was boring. And the players didn't get on with him very well, apparently.
So where do Southampton fans get this righteousness from all of a sudden that it has to be the Southampton way? We have to play a certain way. I mean, seriously? They're not happy with 8th in the Premier League. They're not happy with getting to a cup final. I mean, come on. You better sometimes watch what you wish for, because I'd love to know how they're going to get better than that next season. I just don't see it happening.
Long list of managers being linked to a move now. Be interesting to see who that will be.
Somebody mentioned Thomas Tuchel.
Thomas Tuchel?
No, I did laugh. It was somebody we know who's a Southampton fan.
Yes,
and I was like,
yeah, exactly. Slightly deluded, maybe. Thank you very much, gentlemen. More from us tomorrow. Till then, bye-bye. Welcome in then to Extra Time. Craig's been busy today vacuuming his house.
That's easy for you.
I know.
try hoovering.
But hoovering isn't... Does that translate over here?
What's the difference?
All right, vacuum.
What was the difference?
Well, Hoover is...
Here's the guy who was talking about a janitor the other day, who goes, well, everybody know what a janitor is.
Well,
How you try to split hairs with Hoover and vacuum?
No, but Hoover is the name of the product, isn't it? Vacuum is the name of the system.
Well, in
Just
England,
so many questions, will we?
in the UK, we say hoovering.
Yeah, but it's vacuuming, isn't it?
Well,
because
I was vacuuming, and you can't say it, but I was vacuuming today for a very good reason.
I know, Mrs. Burley's return.
She's returning from a vacation, and I had to make sure everything was spick and span.
Wow. Different side of him.
So you say, can you Hoover the carpet?
Vacuum.
You don't get the Hoover. Can you go and get the Hoover and vacuum the carpet? You say, can you hoover the carpet?
But the hoover isn't necessarily a hoover,
I'm
is it?
just trying to explain to you what you're on
No,
about.
I'm explaining to you what it's all about.
Yeah, well, good luck with that.
I cleaned out the turtle tank.
Oh, there you go. How is the turtle?
Alive.
Good. How big is it these days?
About that size.
Oh, there you go. Right.
Producer just said Americans are fascinated about like.
Do you see?
So not, this is online. It goes to more than just America, I presume, unless I don't know.
Do you see Premier League teams underperform in the Champions League because they bring in and move out too many players every transfer window?
I wouldn't say that's the reason they're not doing well. I mean, at the end of the day, they're bringing in good players, but I don't think the players that are in the Premier League are as talented as, Real Madrid or Barcelona or Bayern Munich.
Just not been good enough.
Just not good enough.
Recently.
Liverpool question for you, Stevie.
Oh, marvellous.
Are they still in for Van Dijk? And if not, who should they buy for the centre-back position?
It doesn't look like they're still in for Van Dijk. Who should they buy? I think they need to go and get an experienced central defender who's been there, done it and seen it.
This is where you have to give us the names.
Colo Touré.
Go to Atletico Madrid and get Godin.
Yeah.
You talk about a guy who's not fancy, but who gets it done, and whoever's around him, he makes them better. He would do me fine for a couple of seasons.
I don't think Atletico are going to let him go, though, are they?
No.
I think that old transfer ban might come into play. Who realistically replaces Puel at Southampton and takes them to the next level?
The next level? What's this next level, Pater? Eh? Can you explain that to me?
Saints fans are ambitious these days.
Yeah, that's why they keep selling all their players. That's how much.
Eddie Howe, would that be a step up for him from Bournemouth to Southampton? Still close, probably could keep the same house.
Yeah, but it probably
Practical.
would, yeah.
And vacuum cleaner.
And vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, but how are Southampton, as Craig said, they sell all the best players, so how are they supposed to get better than... They were 8th. Are you telling me that they're going to try and break into the top 6? Are they going to get past Everton, who was 7th? How did they get any better selling their players and changing the manager?
I don't know. That is it. That brings us to the end of today's Extra Time.
That's definitely it.
ESPN FC is back on your screens tomorrow. Are you off tomorrow, Craig?
No,
Are you working tomorrow?
I am.
6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN News.